very important topic, which is in terms of array filters. So one of the most common tasks when we are working with array is to create a new array that contains a subset of the element of the original arrays. So for example, suppose you have an array of cities where each object contains two property, name and population. I will just suppose this is the array which we are looking for. So as you can see, this is an array of cities which has name and population. To find the cities whose population is greater than 3 million, you typically loop over the array in the traditional way, or over the array element using a for loop, and test if the population or property satisfy the condition. Okay, so the code, if we look for the code, it will be something like this. For example, let's see, pick cities. Okay, I will define it as an array, and we will have a for loop for, I will take let I equal to 0, I is less than cities dot length. Okay, I plus plus, and in that, what we in a traditional apply, what we will do is like, if we will have cities array of I, that particular element, okay, dot population, okay, is greater than 3000. Okay, so it will look something like that. Okay, I will okay, and if it's greater than that, then what we will do big cities, which is the array which we have created, dot push. Okay, so we will push that particular entity which is having a population greater than that, and it will be what we will be pushing, cities I, so the object of that city. Okay, so this is a traditional method which we use if we want to try out the output. So what we can do, console.log. So for this tutorials I will be using VS Code, which is quite popular, the script editor, JavaScript editor. So big cities. So if I run this out now we get the output. In output we get two cities, Los Angeles and New York. So we can say that Los Angeles and New York has a high population. Okay, it crosses around 3 million population. Okay, so what JavaScript array filter method do? So JavaScript array provides the filter method, okay, that's allowed you to do this task in a shorter and a cleaner way. Okay, so if we take this following example only, so for the example I will just comment out this code. We'll take the similar code. Okay, so I will just remove this code. Okay, and if I take how it works in filters, so if let, we will create, so as I mentioned in the start, it will create a separate array. Okay, it's a subset array, you can say. And what we can do, we can take the parent array on which we have to perform the actions. Okay, cities dot, there's a method called filter, which is an out of the box method which is provided by which is relevant to array. Okay, and in this we can define a function. So I will define a function. The first parameter, you can pass any parameter over here, so I will just define it as e. So what this e signifies, it will iterate through each of the element of the which are present in this array. Okay, and then we can define what condition we have to push. So I will write return, okay, e dot population, because we want to focus on population, less than, and I will put it over here, the digit which we will look for. right? So how it will work? Okay, okay. So how it will work? I will just replace with my boilerplate code. Okay. So in this example, we call the method filter. You can see over here of the cities array object and pass into a function that tests each element. Okay, so it iterates through each element. Inside the function, we check if the population of the country, population of the city in the array is greater than 3 million. If in this case, if it is, this in this case it will return true, otherwise it will return false. The filter method includes only those elements in the array if the filter satisfies the function, means if it returns true. Okay, so if I rerun the code, you can see the output is the same. Okay, now let's compare the two methods, okay, which we had in the start and which we have written right now. So you can see the size of the code is quite small, plus it's quite cleaner to use. Okay, this is clear for us, eh? So we can use in ES6. Okay, if we are using ES6, so we can use the lambda expression, and in that we can use the arrow function, which will help us out to build this particular function in a more cleaner way. So we have gone through these two things. Okay, now I will show you the third way using the arrow filter. So the third way is like, here we will be using the arrow annotations. So I will give it the name as big cities 2, big cities 1, and it's big cities. Okay, so I will make it as 1, I will make it as 2. Okay, so now over here you can see we have defined a array called big cities 2. It's again on cities. We have written filter, and we are using, instead of writing this function, right, return and defining a function, we have used the arrow annotation, where what we are doing, we are taking each and every city. Okay, it's a variable, static variable, we can define anything cities, and we are taking from population of that city, and we are just checking if it's greater than 3 million. Okay, so it will automatically return true and false, and based on that, if it returns true, then it will get added to the big cities too. For example, I will try to run it again for you. If I run it out, you can see all the three methods are giving the exact same output. So this is traditional way. This, you can say, this is filter way, and the third one, this one, is like filter with array. Okay, so let's go some more deep in how this function works, means what exactly. So the filter function we can use with a callback also. Okay, so if I give an object like this, so this is the common syntax. Okay, for the filter method, the filter method creates a new array with element that passes the test implemented by the callback function. Okay, internally the filter method iterates over each element of the array and pass each element to a callback function. If the callback function returns true, it includes that the element is in the array. Okay, the filter method accepts two named argument. One is callback and an optional object. Okay, this is the context object. So the callback methods can have other attributes also. If I take, so this is general syntax for the callback function. If I want to take this as a callback function, we will look into the examples once we understand the syntax. So this is a signature of callback function. So this is the signature of the callback function. The callback function takes three arguments. The current element argument is the current element in the array that is being processed by the callback function. So you can consider each object is an argument. Okay. The second method is an index. Okay. So the index of a current element is being processed by the callback function. This is the second argument. And the third object is like the array object being transferred. The index and array arguments are optional. Okay. The context object argument of the filter, where is the context object argument of the filter method is optional. If you pass this value, okay, you can reference it with the keyword callback function. Okay, let's look into some more examples, okay, on the filter method. So suppose I will just remove this out. Okay, suppose we have a function. Okay, so for example, we have a array of words called const. I will put an array. So we have a constant array of words, which I have just added some words just for demo purpose. And now we want to filter out the words which are having length greater than 6. So this is quite a simple example we will start with. So how we will go for that? So I will write constant. Okay, I will create a array constant return, or I will get result. Okay, and what I will do, the syntax of word. So I have taken the array dot, I want to filter it out, so I will take filter. Okay, and now I will put on the condition. So our condition is like we want to take the words which are having length greater than 6. So I will be like word. Okay, we will give the array expression, and then we will define what kind of operation we have to do with the word. Okay, so it's word dot length. Okay, we are checking the length is greater than 6. So if the word length is greater than 6, then it will be added to the result array. Okay, so if we look into this array, so spray 1 2 3 4 5, it's not matching the criteria. Limit is also not matching criteria. Elite is also not matching the criteria. Exhibit, it matches the criteria. Destruction matches the criteria. Present matches. So in the output we should get these three attributes. Okay, so I will do console.log, and we will try to give result. I will try to define it in a better way, and we will give result. Let's see. I will just remove all the previous logs, and if I run this out, as you can see, in a result we are getting these three attributes. Okay, so let's take few more examples. Okay, so for example, let's this is you can consider this is an example on string. Okay, so it will be a string example. We have already covered one example which is one object. Now let's take one more example which will be a number. Okay, so suppose there's an array of number. Okay, so I will define some random number array. So let number array. While writing any code, you should always follow the standards which is recommended by the JavaScript. That's like defining any variables with the camel case. So I have defined one array. That's an integer array, you can see over here. And now I will explain you how the callback function works. Okay, with this example. So now we want to use the callback function. So what we will do, we will suppose we have to filter this array to check what a number cross is greater than 10. Okay, so what we can do, we can define it like function. it's just a normal JavaScript function, and I will give it the name is big enough. Okay, and it will take one argument, so it will be the current argument which is going through the filter. Okay, so I will take it as a value, and then I can write my logic over here. So it's return, and it should return always a boolean value. Okay, so return value is greater than 10. Okay, so what it will do, it will take one argument. Okay, suppose 12 will be passed over here. It will check 12 is greater than 10, yes, then it will return true. If we have in the second iteration we have passing 5 is not greater than 2, it will return false. Based on this algorithm it will work. Okay, so let's define the filter array. Okay, I will define filtered array. Okay, and what we can do, number array dot, now you know the syntax, right? We write filter. Okay, but this time instead of using the arrow functions or define the function there itself, we will use a callback function. So just give me a second, I will comment this out so it will not create any kind of confusion. Okay, so now it's pretty clear. Now what we'll do, we will call this function out as a callback function. Okay, I've called big enough. Now if I do console.log, then it should return 12 130 44. Okay, so I will add filtered array. Okay, I did copied it. Okay, I copied this different thing. Okay, so I take the filter array colon, and let's see what value it holds. Okay, so if I run it out, it gives us value, the proper value 12 130 44. Okay, so this, we are done with the object example, we are done with the string example, we are done with the number example with the callback function. Now let's increase the level to some great extent. Okay, to an extent, not a great, to an extent. Suppose we have a function, okay, where we want to find prime number in an array. Okay, so we will write a function called prime. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, I have not decided anything on this tutorial. In an array. Okay, so for example, we'll take a constant array. Okay, constant, I will give a name number array. Okay, let's take some random value. I've created a few arrays, but I didn't decide what to do with this array. Okay, so we have a number array. Now we want to find the prime number from this array. Okay, so you know the prime number, the definition is like the number which is divisible by itself. Okay, so everyone knows the logic behind this. Okay, so we will do function is prime number, because as it will give a boolean value. Okay, is prime, it will take one argument called number, we can say, and now we will write a logic. Okay, so for example it will be like for, because we need to go through while for loop for this, right? It's a pretty common interview question, right, to the freshers. So number, it's greater than I, because it will okay, and I plus plus. Okay, now what I will do, if we have to check if number mod of I. Okay, so basically this is the algorithm which we always use. What we do, we on an iterative basis we check if the number mod is greater than, so I will be like, we'll have function I, then return false. Okay, else what we'll do, else we'll return number is greater than 1. This is a common function, and now we will use this function in our filter method to create a separate array. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll create a function, we will create an array constant prime numbers. Okay, and what it will do, it will take number array as an input. Okay, we'll put a filter on the same, and then we'll call a function is prime. Okay, and let's print it out, dot log, and I will like prime numbers plus prime numbers. I will run this code out, and you can see we got the list of prime numbers. Okay, so this is how we use an array filter. Let's take one more example. Okay, this is quite let's take one more example. Suppose I have a dynamic filter condition. Okay, so suppose I have an array of fruits. Okay, fruits, and I will define an array. So it takes array of fruits, and we have a requirement where we want to filter an array, or we want to create a subset of this array based on certain criteria. Okay, so what we will do, we'll create a filter. So I will create a function called filter items. Okay, so let's define, so what we'll do, the first argument is of always array. Okay, I will define array, and let's define a query. Let's pass the query. Okay, whatever conditions we want to put in, and what we will do, return. Okay, arr dot, we will use filter inside the callback function now. Okay, so we'll use filter, which will take a function, and it will take an attribute el. Okay, and what it will do, it will return el. First of all, we'll convert it to lowercase, el dot to lowercase. Okay, and will first of all convert all the elements to lowercase, so that there's a possibility, right, key some of the alphabets start with a capital letter, and in the ASCII value of capital and small letters are different, right? So there's a probability that it can miss that particular criteria, right? So because of that I'm giving this, and I will give condition like index of, okay, so I want to check it matches the criteria which we are passing on. Okay, index of query, okay, dot will convert the query also to lowercase, so it will be easy. If you want to make it case sensitive, we can do that also, but for time being I'm making it as a lowercase only. Okay, so is not equal to -1. So this is the condition which I put over here, and I will close this function, filter function. Now what I will do, I will, now we have function, we have filter, everything is there. Am I missing something out? It's giving error. Oh, I missed one. Curly brace over here. Expected semicolon. Mhm. So sorry for the disturbance. So there was one parenthesis missing, because of which it was giving an error. So now I've defined the code, and I've passed two criteria. In the first criteria, it will check a fruit which contains an alphabet string ep. Okay, so it's apple and grace should be given in the output, and the second one I'm passing in, so it should be mango and banana and orange also. Okay, so I will clear the console. Okay, so this is the output. So this is how the filter works. Okay, you can, and it's very useful uh, to use when we want to work or we want to do some iterations on array. See you in the next video with the more updates on new coding stuff. Okay, till then, have a nice day. Goodbye.